Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this press conference convened by the Minister of Interior National Administration with the representation of the National Police Service present and the ministry here present, represented by the PS and myself. On Wednesday of the 25th of June 2025, Kenya witnessed scenes of profound pain and violence in the name of the right to peaceful assembly. True peaceful protests, free of expression and picketing, are enshrined in our Constitution and specifically in Article 37. As the Cabinet Secretary responsible for your security, I address the nation today with heavy heart. Let me right from the outset express my deepest sympathy to every Kenyan who endured suffering during yesterday's protest. To the families of those who suffered harm, both members of public and security personnel who bore the brunt of violence and those whose livelihoods were shattered, your needless pain is our collective sorrow. The suffering inflicted upon you remains a stain on our national conscience. What unfolded yesterday was not a protest. It was terrorism disguised as dissent. There was no peaceful demonstration. It was riots, chaos, and anarchy. Let me therefore state unequivocally that we condemn the criminal anarchists who, in the name of peaceful demonstrations, unleashed a wave of violence, looting, sexual assault, and destruction upon our people. More than 10 Kenyans were killed. Investigations are ongoing on the numbers and the circumstance that this happened. Over 400 were injured. Close to 300 are police officers. Some left with injuries they will carry for the rest of their lives. Key government installations and offices were targeted. At least 9 police stations were attacked, 5 of which were torched, including Dagoretti, Molo, and Olkalau, to name a few. 88 police vehicles were destroyed. A total of 27 national and county government vehicles were destroyed, and 65 civilian vehicles parked in various police stations, including a school bus, were burnt. The criminals were aiming at the officers on duty. They were after guns in the armories and the police uniforms. 5 firearms were stolen in Dagoretti Police Post, Kiambu County, while 4 were burned at Kashui Police Post by the very criminals who hid behind the pretense of a peaceful protest. Government offices, including courts, national government and county governments offices, were looted and burnt. Businesses worth billions of shillings were massively looted. The criminals targeted kiosks, supermarkets, electronic shops, hotels, and restaurants, among others. I have just come this morning from inspecting some of the looted businesses in the bus station, OTC, Nyamakima, and it is very painful. I met young hustlers, older hustlers, women, young men, youth, and different cadre of business people who were actually shedding tears as they explained to us the suffering they have gone through, with the entire businesses being wiped, and most of these businessmen and businesswomen and youth, young business persons, were actually borrowed money from banks, and some of them from Shylocks, to just carry out their businesses. And now everything is looted and destroyed, and they have to start afresh. I need to note also that just like government infrastructure, business and residential premises were banned, including the one owned by Catholic Church in Embu County. Critical infrastructure such as roads, railway, electricity, and water infrastructure were vandalized. Also of great concern to us, and as though it's pointed to the motive of the protests, is that the organizers targeted the homes and businesses of elected leaders who support government, including the homes and the business of the National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, Molo MP Kimani Kuria, Madira Member of Parliament Eric Wamumbi, Kieni Member of Parliament whose home and supermarket was also targeted, Joroge Wainaina, MP of Mbere, whose business premises and home was also targeted, Engineer Bernard Muriuki, and Laikipia East MP Mwangi Kiunjuri, among others, including a number of MCAs. This was not just violence. It was an orchestrated campaign of terror, an assault on our people, our constitution, our institutions, our values, and the very soul of this republic. What was billed as a peaceful protest was in truth a calculated disguise, a coordinated descent into chaos marked as civic expression, masked as civic expression. Beneath the banner of democratic rights, we witnessed a well-orchestrated campaign of political violence. What happened was not spontaneous. It was not random. It was deliberate, it was coordinated, it was funded, and it was premeditated and politically instigated. The mobilized protesters, especially along Kiambu, it is time to take out power and occupy properties of politicians and civilians allied to government and innocent civilians who were of Nairobi, and watch the goons and to the recently probed and were accompanied by law enforcement officers. This is what was envisaged in Article 37 of our Constitution. The Inspector General of Police, through the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, is carrying out investigations to apprehend and bring to justice the organizers and financiers and this well-orchestrated campaign of violence. And I want Kenyans to rest assured that the government will pursue justice relentlessly on behalf of all the affected citizens. No person will be spared regardless of their political or financial status. I know it's been promised before that every time such violence is meted on citizens in the name of protesting, promises have been made before that criminals will be charged. I want to say, for avoidance of doubt, that the Inspector General of Police will follow the Constitution to the letter, and all these criminals will be arrested and investigated. I must say that sitting here in the command center yesterday, I managed to see some of those videos and cameras that have picked some of these criminals. And I have no doubt that we have enough evidence to make sure that these looters, including the financiers, including the vehicles that were bringing money in the name of protest, giving money to protesters in different corners of Nairobi, especially in Wendibungu Street. I believe that those criminals will be arrested, they will be charged. Those who stole guns from Dagoretti police station and those who torched police stations and people's houses, people's businesses, looted them, we are going to have to do a very massive mop up so that we can be able to arrest them. But it is important to note that the wheels of justice don't only depend on the police. It's also important for us to appreciate that the judiciary have a very important responsibility to protect the citizens of this republic. More often than not, every time this situation happens, either these protesters are given very favorable bail terms, or sometimes they are even released on free bond. It is up to the judiciary to decide if they want a country of law and order or they want anarchy akin to what we saw yesterday. And as I said in my statement, recently, a section of church leaders and a section of diplomats went public and asked the Inspector General of Police not to stop anyone who wanted to come to town to protest. It is now clear that there was no protest, it was chaos, anarchy. Parliament was being targeted and State House was being targeted. Those who planned this chaos had a very premeditated plan. They shared that plan, including online, and the plan was to take the symbols of authority and democracy, our symbols of democracy in the Republic, which is Parliament and State House, to make sure that they show that they have achieved some sort of a regime change. So this is nothing to do with protests. This is nothing to do with freedom of expression. It was an unconstitutional attempt to change the regime of this republic. And this is therefore, yesterday what the police did to foil was they were able to foil an attempted coup. Our security agencies exercised remarkable restraint amid extreme provocation. I want to say this to the brave officers injured while protecting Kenyans' property, key installations, including Parliament, Judiciary, and State House, against rioters and no doubt hired thugs. We feel your pain and sacrifice that embody the truest expression of patriotism. It is now urgent for us as a nation. I just wanted to say before I read my last paragraph that I know that no church member, and I repeat, there will be no bishop, neither Catholic nor Anglican or any other church leader who will come public to defend the police. I know that for sure. Nobody will speak about how the police were attacked, injured, and suffered immense pain as a result of the various. Nobody will do so. I also know that no diplomat will come to public to defend our police, because it is not in their interest for Kenya to be a safe nation and to be a prospering country with full democracy. All those people would prefer anarchy, chaos, at the expense of peace. And since there is no one who is going to defend our police officers, I want to speak authoritatively here. I thank you, our police officer, for a job well done against the extreme provocation. And some police stations were attacked by thugs, and their mission was just to get the guns and police uniform. And I can see some of these boys on TikTok. They are wearing police uniform, calling themselves sergeants, and that they have taken over power. Make no mistake, we will come for you, and we will come hard. It doesn't matter the noisemakers, doesn't matter those who are calling us names. I will defend the police officers, or all the police officers who did a very good job yesterday. You have my full support, 100%. Even if you need a lawyer or you need anything, you have my back, and you have the back of this ministry, and I have your back actually, and I have your back, and the ministry has your back, and the government has your back. If you are a police officer and you are being threatened, with some characters saying that you committed any excesses. There is no police officer who committed any excess yesterday. Police officers foiled a coup, and they deserve our defense. They don't carry guns as toys. When you threaten a police officer, you want to kill them. When you target an armory in a police station, when you steal guns, when you ban guns, when you ban a police station, you want us to celebrate you and bring you a birthday cake. We must be serious as a country. And as long as I have this responsibility, a policy responsibility of speaking on behalf of our police officers, we must defend them, because it is now clear the coup plotters are not sleeping. And while they were going around campaigning against policemen for the last 3 weeks, their campaign was not a genuine campaign for the reform of police officers. They wanted to sufficiently scare us and scare the police officers so that they can have a free passage to commit the crimes that we saw yesterday. If it was not for the police officers, we would not be having this country today. We would not be sitting here to make statements. And therefore, our police officers have my full support, and I will defend them against all the orchestrated attacks that want to paint police officers as if they are lesser human beings and not daughters and sons of this republic. Therefore, it is urgent as a nation to put in place a legal framework that operationalizes Article 37 of the Constitution to ensure that demonstrations are carried out in an orderly manner. This entails providing sufficient information on the planners, purpose, day, time, and demonstrations routes, among other details, to enable the police to provide adequate security and to ensure that the demonstrations are not happening in areas that will inconvenience other Kenyans who do not want to take part, including traders and other business people. We urge all citizens to reject and denounce violence. We must deny criminals the chance to exploit the legitimate grievances. We welcome dialogue with all stakeholders, including the youth, grassroots voices, traders and business leaders, civil society and other religious groups to address systemic issues that affect Kenya. Kenya's strength lies in our unity. To those who seek chaos, our resolve to protect our motherland is unbreakable. To peaceful citizens, the government stands with you. I thank you.